Welcome to the University of Chicago's inaugural Offen Poetry Prize Reading, a new series that pairs poets from our undergraduate literary community with an established author in order to make connections between student writers who are just starting to imagine what it might be like to be a poet someday, with poets who are just starting to wonder why they ever got into this business in the first place. Because we'll be featuring two readers this afternoon, I'll keep my introductory remarks to a minimum. I'll begin by saying a few brief words about our visiting poet, Ilya Kaminsky, and then after Ilya reads from his work, he'll say a few words about the student whose work he selected for this competition, before handing over the poem to Joshua Adams. Ilya Kaminsky was born in 1977 in Odessa, formerly of the Soviet Union, now in Ukraine. His first collection of poems, Dancing in Odessa, won the American Academy of Arts and Letters Metcalf Award, the Dorset Prize, and earned its author fellowships from the Whiting Foundation, the Poetry Foundation's Ruth Lilly Fellowship, and a Lannan Literary Fellowship. The awards and recognition were richly deserved, as Dancing in Odessa has had a powerful impact on a new generation of American poets, who find, in Kaminsky's work, a voice weaving wonder, eros, rage, and hilarity, plus tenderness in equal measure. From what I've had the privilege to see of his new work in progress, from which I hope we hear today, Kaminsky's readers will be thrilled by what is to come as well. But I won't spoil the surprise for you. I'll just say that what Kaminsky did in Dancing in Odessa, producing a poetry both deeply intimate and profoundly concerned with philosophical and theological inquiry, opens into an even broader canvas of the human comedy in this new work. An anthologist, translator, and social activist, Kaminsky is an associate professor in the MFA program at San Diego State University and the director of the Poetry Foundation's Harriet Monroe Poetry Institute here in Chicago. Please join me in welcoming Ilya Kaminsky.
Let me start with some new poems. If you all have a copy of the packet, right? Great, otherwise you will suffer for the next 20 minutes because I speak with a very heavy Russian accent. Yeah. So let's start at the end. There are two poems at the end. One is really long, called Sonya's Fairy Tale. This is what it starts, looks like, Sonya's Fairy Tale. Hello, beautiful people, how's life? Are you already bored? I haven't yet started. Yeah, Sonya's Fairy Tale from the end. Do we all have that, more or less? Less is more or less, right? If you don't have a copy, share the one with the person sitting next to you. Otherwise, you'll know Russian by the end of this 20 minutes. Okay? We all got it? All right. So right in front of Sonya's Fairy Tale, there's a little poem called We Live It Happily During the War, right? If you live it happily during the war.
Before.
Right, I don't have it. If you live it happily. Happy, right? Okay, I have almost confused you. Okay, good. So let me read you the poem. We lived happily during the war. We lived happily during the war. And when they bombed other people's houses, we protested, but not enough. We opposed them, but not enough. I wasn't my bed around my bed. America was fine. Invisible house by invisible house by invisible house. I took a chair outside and watched the sun. In a 6 months of a disastrous reign, in a house of money, in a street of money, in a city of money, in a country of money, our great country of money. We, 40 of us, lived happily during the war. And now I'll read that long poem that I talked to you about called Sonya's Fairy Tale. It's from a London manuscript called Deaf Republic. And Deaf Republic is the story of a husband and wife during the war. And the wife is pregnant. And the story is rather sad. But the fairy tale that she tells to her husband is slightly happier. So I thought I would read you the happy part. For her husband. Alfonso, my handsome husband, this verse you cannot hear. When you wake, my silence, they shall all come true. Hear me tell this story. From Reynard's imagine it corner, Snow White tells this story. To love the hours, as her husband sleeps, Sonya tells a story. Right in front of the approaching train, a woman and a man fuck in the snow. Consider my soul's this texture of stubbornness and quiet that she fastened right is above him in the air. Snow considers his approaching train, in which the conductor whistles, rings a bell and shouts as if refusing to believe in their deafness. Consider my soul the deafness, and the man is certainly vehicle. The train stops, the train stops, the train stops. The conductor whispers, may you win the lottery and spend it all on doctors. A woman straightens her coat and laughs. One of us had to stop first, sir. I couldn't. His dream. One could suspect the train from Western Alavia was carrying its servant quiet. But we had no idea that it was also carrying ours. To report on the incident, the conductor is called to the police headquarters. No civilian entering the building is ever seen again. We know that much. The conductor walks in. He is drunk. He tells the stories to the soldiers. He cannot hear them. They tell him to shut up. He cannot hear them. They ask questions. He cannot hear. They're angry. He cannot hear. They hit him. He cannot hear. Slap. He cannot hear. Slap. They let him go. The music changes, and how the music changes. Her flight. The train conductor makes love to his wife. Morning, they are unable to hear. Full light, the woman, in her panic, visits her lover, the downstairs neighbor, who is also married. Her flight. They make love with a fervor unknown to them before. Next morning, the neighbors awoke to find themselves deaf. The disease continues to spread for 6 weeks. Ours is a country whose citizens woke up one morning and refused to hear. The chief of police, the magistrate judge whose knees touch the chief of police, sign the opera, the audiences, the sopranos are silent at once, or silent the waiters, the customers, the bartenders, the street musicians and bystanders. The plumbers, the bombers, the engineers, as you say this word, they appear in the air, are silent, instantly silent. Directors, professors, the keepers, I watch the words in the air, watch you watch. And spies and doctors and drivers of tractors at the clap of a hand cannot hear at all at the clap of a hand. There were years before quiet there existed. An auditory apparatus before the earth was an acoustic organ, ear, dark earth, fear at the slap of a hand. And in this story, Apples. Listen, Alfonso, to what you do not know. The conductor was befriended by a local actress. Her father, a famous ornithology professor, with the rooms with hundreds of cages with parrots, chickens, washes, canaries, birds, different birds in each room. While the magistrate troops searched through the city, our hero and the actress feasted on sour apples. Together, they wrote Deaf Manifesto. He noticed it. She was feeling nothing underneath her dress. Her breasts were small and wide. The conductor tells us what he noticed. Our naive government listens to our naive poets. They say, language humanizes us. They're wrong, sweet bastards. We cannot reach one another with mere words. I see music in small clumsy feet of a woman who doesn't know but knows so much. What a fine noise her running feet make. I look at her and think, I'm not deaf. I simply told the world to shut off its pigeon music for a while. Loudspeakers quask Citizens, at Assembly Square, they make us sit on our hands. Cut signing, we are arrested. We meet in public toilets to feel each other's throats. We close doors, turn on flashlights, and sign. Citizens, the deaf hand functions in the mouth, thumb at the tongues, fingers are lips. Prisons at Turner Street are called centers for encouragement of the deaf to hear. You're alive, I whisper to myself. That if for something in you listen, something runs down the street, falls, fails to get up, I run, etc., with my legs and my hands, etc. I run down Vasenka Street, etc. It only takes a few minutes to make a man. After a wedding. About this business, you know less than I. In July and before July, if she promised yes, but them said no. Take lavender soft with asparagus, chomping no, and make music for he who had always missed the prettiest girls will marry her down. I predict an early wedding. When the father of the groom marries the mother of the bride, who have consents but silently denies, she will sneak away on her tiptoes while he sleeps. Oh, deaf republic, we go, only the police remain. Yes, I have fed the catch, then something of Barton in the radiator. Thank you, darling, for calling me a gladiator in bed, but I'm hardly a gladiator. We put each other into the fresh earth, afraid of each other. We understand some of it. A young girl, pigeon-breasted, a man who talks too much. We put each other down into the fresh earth. In delirium, a cure. Speak of your love making, a falcon in front of twins. Why? To wake the deaf, he insists. Lift no detail and disclose it, he insists. I will take you where no one hears your confessions. If we took the train conductor seriously, Alfonso, we would follow him to the red light district. Clearly, the epidemic hits the prostitute population harder than other parts of our town. For anyone who walks the streets of the red light district is stone deaf. There, the conductor stood, while deafness hums like a little motor, screaming his confessions. His confessions and the relationship between love-making and deafness. I love a butcher's sister who was toasted, walks swearing in the middle of the night. And bowed before my knees, embracing them, I knelt and kissed her sunburnt elbows. I loved my wife in her shirts, her handkerchiefs, her slippers. I would like to describe the happiness of my wife in her delicate slippers, as she flings her slippers, so she does not surrender in her slippers. I loved an accountant who laughed loudly in her wake, and her child with a tenderness in her laugh. An accountant who looked at the appearance of a man and said, "When bombs fall, we make children." I loved my wife's sister, she who spoke again silence and spoke again silence, knowing that silence is what moves us to speak. His travels. The train conductor, pledging his allegiance to his lovers, trotted up the avenue where the prostitute stopped in confusion. What's he saying? No one knew. But as he jumped on the sidewalk, I can hear he yelled spons and knocks and dim augurs, vestal of passports and of fallen coins, whooshing of trolleys and screeching brakes and cars. Snow snarled into the tender door of his ear. His mouth swelled dry. I can hear, he said, as women began to gather around him as he touched the first prostitute signs. It took her good hour to recount all the adventures she had known since the deafness had taken the city. As she spoke, she too was scared. The prostitute sank. And as his tongue circles my nipples in telephone booths and morning trains, I ask for the strange to ask for nothing. His lips kisses on my hips, my elbows, my lower back, his kisses on my eyelash above my upper lip, my nape I'm falling pressed under all the weight of his little kisses between my shoulder blades. Such is the victory of my profession. I pray for the strength to pray for nothing. At evening trains and in public gardens, my eyelash, my elbow, my hips, my nape by morning, we sign a pact of non-aggression. Before they were taken, unable to sign at first, our townspeople graffitied their conversations in the city. Wherever the hand could reach, a road sign, a store window, a marble statue, they wrote their names, birthdays, how they first met their spouses, what their neighbors said before they were taken. At the trial of God, he will ask, why did you allow all this? And the answer will be an echo. Why did you allow all this? Written on walls. Who kissed Abraham? Who kissed Magda? Who kissed Karim? Who kissed Tali? Although she was a dozen years his senior, and Karim's bicycle turned at the factory where a kissing woman played the secretary's pride patrol of kisses. The epidemic, we knew it was true from the way the newspapers denied it, and we were made afraid. Tonya says she saw her former husband standing in a line arranged by penis sizes. In June we made love outside to the great happiness of mosquitoes. And we saw the policeman march, our crazy Abraham running after them, shooting the police horses with a toy water gun. I remember the Ilya splashes of water everywhere, and we drank and laughed like barefoot pedants, and also drank quietly, dumping only the earth, and quietly made vodka from cherries, vodka from wooden chairs. And William began to compare the governor's face to his grandmother's naked ass. And now we enter the city that used to be ours. Past visitors and gardens, past wooden staircases and well-ironed gates, where we waited on the doorstep, waited. When the president rode in a white limousine, followed by a two-night-long procession, which was followed by trials and executions. As we waited on the doorsteps, waited. Be courageous, we said, but no one is courageous. For my soul waits for you. Oh, grant me, God, this city of inaudible music. A dream, the end. This story is not about lovemaking. It is not about the epidemic stew. It is a story of how deafness returned, but our people weren't angry. They knew that for a moment the country in our ears was ours. A toast to your voice, a mysterious virtue, to the 53 bonds of one food, the 4 dimensions of breathing, to pine, redwood, sword for peppermint, to hyacinth, blue, to the train conductors down in a row, to smells of lemons, a boy pissing splendidly against the trees. Bless each zinc note until it sickens, until each ungovernable heart admits, I confused myself, and yet I love it, and what I loved I forgot. What I forgot brought glory to my travels. To you I traveled as close as I dared float. Okay, you guys awake? More or less. Oh, I'm not out of your hair yet. I think I have maybe 3 more minutes or so. Let me just give you a couple of short poems and then I'll get out of here, okay? Let's go to the start. The first poem is called Author's Prayer. Author's Prayer. If I speak for the dead, I must leave this animal of my body. I must write the same poem over and over from empty pages, a white flag of their surrender. If I speak for them, I must walk on the edge of myself. I must live as a blind man who runs through the rooms without touching the furniture. Yes, I live. I can cross the streets asking what is it. I can dance in my sleep and laugh in front of the mirror. Even sleep is a prayer, Lord. I will praise your madness and in a language not mine. Speak of music that wakes us, music in which we move. For whatever I say is a kind of petition, and the darkest days must I praise. All right. Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4 poems down, and we will finish in a poem called Dancing in Odessa. Okay? 4 poems down, and we'll finish on Dancing in Odessa. Dancing in Odessa. Anybody likes to dance? Good. Let's do it. Okay. Dancing in Odessa. We live it north of the future. Days open at letters with a child's signature, a raspberry, a page of sky. My grandmother Dorita made us from her balcony. She pulled imagination like a blanket over my head. I painted my mother's face. She understood loneliness, hid the dead in the earth like partisans. The night undressed as I counted its spools. My mother danced, she filled the past with speeches, casseroles. At this my doctor laughed, his granddaughter touched my eyelid. I kissed the back of her knees, I see it trembled. A hot ship sailing sail. And my classmate invented 20 names for Jew. He was an angel, he had no name, we wrestled, yes. My grandfather fought the German tanks and tractors. I kept a suitcase full of Brodsky's poems. The city trembled, a hot ship set in sail. At night I walked to whisper, yes, we live it, yes, don't say it was a dream. At the local factory, my father took a handful of snow, put it in my mouth. The sun began a routine narration, whitening their bodies. Mother, father, dancing, moving as the darkness spoke behind them. It was April. The sun washed the balconies, April. I retell the stories, the light etches into my hand. Little book, go to the city without me. Okay. Well, let's not clap too much because we have another wonderful poet to read. We want to give him time. I was lucky to get a sense of what people write like in Chicago these days. And I must say I was quite impressed. In fact, I was kind of fighting to have more co-winners, but I lost. I tried though. So, there were many beautiful poems in this competition. I was so stunned that I chose 3 finalists. In fact, I begged university to allow me to pick co-winners, but no luck, alas. What did I love about the work of all the finalists? There were beautiful lyrics, powerful elegies, playful language. And yet, the winner I picked, my taste anyway, seemed to be good at more than one thing. Each poem in a packet I read was good in a way that was different from a previous poem. Each poem expanded my understanding of the poet's poetic, his music. He can tell a story, he can sing a song. He can be utterly modern and yet movingly traditional. There is something very colloquial here, and yet something classical too. I was particularly struck by the devotion of the poem called Stargazing, the narrative moves and shifts of the poem called Discourse and a Method, and the marvelous, surprising erotics of the poem called Letters to the Corinthians. Congratulations to Joshua.
Thanks to Ilya and to all of you for coming over here. When I was 19 years old, we were in a poetry workshop together for about 15 minutes. And
I must have run away.
No, I thought I knew something about poetry when I was 19, and then you presented your work, and I thought, I have some work to do of my own. Thanks again. Are we all right with the sound? Evermore about. At last, we were safe in the woods. The now of the blades at work made the swaying sounds of bees overhead, attentive to husk. Our bare feet brushed. What we held was enough this to hide the trail of our rust, furrowed by rain, open to jonquil, here and here. Feverish beds pleat dusk with a mellow science. They see us there cupped round the stems at suck. So we crawl on, praising our hands. Choral. At night on the feast of St. Bartholomew, we go down to the ruined amphitheater and make love on the grassy proscenium. There you whisper, "The disease you get in this book depends on your literacy." Some persimmons roll out of my bag. We sit against stripped marble and eat in silence. A long way off, there's an apocryphal war and some headless torsos made of glass. The posture of posture holds our interest. Murmured vows people the clover. I rise from the bed to find you have turned to ash. Confidence. Twist this stippled plate of glass into the sun. The arms around your neck abate. Their grip is wind on water. I see the silhouette aground, a mastless ship peeling in wheat, tar abscess where the captain's chair should be. Usez mais n'abusez pas stamps along the pen. Prokofiev was here tonight with his French lieutenant woman's lips. Fortune rips what future sows, he said. The flies anesthetize themselves. Seagulls circle styrofoam. Roman prostitutes admire Mary. That's why I keep her near my mouth. Signal. A star-washed pier. Green fire in the sky, her tongue broke free of speech like bulb from leaf and blossomed in my mouth. On the portico roof, the truth was what we thought we knew, a pulse, a swallow, eyelid dust. Crusted by heat and hope, enough to fan our plumes along the bricks and lace the dew, we waited for the sun to break the lawn apart until our logic threw us out. It wasn't fair, but it was just. Our trust was in the dark, among those shadows that we couldn't name. Stargazing. This poem is after a great poem by Henry Vaughan, metaphysical poet. Scattered on concrete, painted like grass, we spiral beneath an indigo sky. Mercury hums, a face in the dark like a navel. Your tongue is deceptively strong and riddles my spine into knees. Below the quiet is quiet. I never eye you again. Discourse on method. We were sitting cross-legged on the cement in La Spezia when you turned to me and said, "I have forgotten why Louis XIV revoked the Edict of Nantes." This seemed to raise an important question, namely, what is to be done about French history in the present? And by the present, one did not mean here and now, sharing a cigarette and hoping that the train to Pisa has air conditioning, and perhaps a decent restaurant car, unlike the train from Pisa, where we sat facing those two boys who dreamed of joining the merchant marine and who surely could have assisted us with the window, but here and now, as in the here and now, which is oddly hard to pin down, since it always seems to be there and then. And by French history, one did not mean just the history of the French nation or the French-speaking peoples, but history as such, which is also somewhat difficult to come by, since you can't enter a bookstore, even a very good one, and ask for a book like that, a book of history, as such. What one meant was, can we do anything about everything happening? The question filled me with dread, which was better than nothing, but not by much. So I decided to look at the beach for a while and tried to find the exact place where the sand became damp. I once had a theory about beaches and infinitude, but in the interim, the basis of the theory was contested by certain developments in my person, including a theatric humility. I thought I found it. Not the humility, I mean, but the obscure origin of sand dampness. Instead, I started thinking of Descartes. I remembered his argument concerning God's perfection and goodness, that these were a transcendental insurance policy which guaranteed all our knowledge in the event of an accident, like an accidental doubt of God's perfection and goodness, which might just happen someday like a tree limb falling through the top of our new cabriolet and marring the sheepskin interior. One could see this much was clear about La Spezia. The environs were long on description and short on analysis. The wine, it sufficed. We had planned to bring some back with us, but the innkeeper confiscated it when he discovered our national sins against the modesty of the female form in pajamas, a misunderstanding of miniature proportions, except that we didn't yet speak his language and could not adequately express, neither as compensation nor genuine fellow feeling, the praise we had for the way he and his wife had prepared our steamed mussels earlier that evening. They were truly outstanding, supple and sweet, and hardly embarrassed by their station as we greedily dropped them open, one after another. What we could do was leave the room quickly, all the while making vaguely pacific gestures with our hands and saying "mi dispiace," which, literally translated, suggests aristocratic disappointment unbefitting self-conscious idealism. Or perhaps a bit more accurately, gives it the lie of clear and distinct ideas taken from the laughter of the sea in the distance. We went to bed on the bunk in the moldy shack at the back of the garden and talked briefly about which one of them had nicer legs. Past 3, you woke up screaming. Spill. Iguanas have each other by the neck. How much for this soda, this watch, this Indian girl? Till and even rock will bloom. Come and count the threads of these expressive sheets. Honey made from flies, picnic on the bleached reef. Who sings? This pig's in heat, and each house eats its pox. Pump, the wound has a mouth. Pledge. Would this light me down, as sons of Egypt, bold? The sea is limbs. Stream it into screens. Our seats recline in the AC. The land was ours. Write me its history on skin, so it lasts. Stones seep down and flower into graves. A plastic garden hose swims in the dust. Wrapped round my throat, it pours dollars over me like oil. I hear it grease the blades. Their song is pesticide, my lullaby. Who knows how long will takes to show itself? Ask the ice cream man, he knows. Means. Steel cross, swoop soft and sweep the rocks with your red eye. Great puppet moth, far-seeing, trailing fire, whose puppeteers sit under earth and coolly tug. Films tell me it's better now. No more city snuff, no more inching muck and blood, no more telegrams. Once you spoke by birds, O gods. We read the sky or begged the sky. Special providence, your descent is clear. This poem is no title. There's a cost to this life. I'll tally it up, said the scrap meat, said the newsprint. Carp, come quick now, trick now, prick now. Why should I pay for your bandage, your massage? Lace thigh high and only so, oh Jesus H, oh Viola, you kid me with your pluck, and pride is always what we had. Flat lakes we go down, and each night our lawns will outlive us. My empire builder chugs, pa-thump. Those dying generations don't die quick enough. Paris poem. Form is a fetish, but it's a sin to live as if. In my 26th year, I became a believer in private property, or rather, private property became a believer in me. We have learned to love sovereignty once again, Victoria. Now show us your stuffed squirrels playing cards. Let me drink it off, this fin de siècle. All the systematic theology in the world won't put this night back together. Great underwater lung, breathe. I swim through canyons, your bra strap my lifeboat. The coach was not, in fact, a ghost of your late father. Boys from Kenosha everywhere, drinking champagne. Wind blows, up comes the dust. In the dream we were hunters, and on waking we knew it was true. Sentence. I never thought you'd bleed like this. Chum tossed off the Captain Kidd, semaphore, light along a crosshair grid gone dark. Buried key, our liquid pleas, our brick knee-deep with hush, the abject flush of palm to eye says such, that trust alone won't translate into reach. We preach, but where? And out of what relief? Signs flank the pilgrim girls in their tear feet and fork the path to blossom, then to seed. Champagne shadows sailed the privy walls to scald the hair of those who sowed your fleur-de-lis. Spit guaranteed this loan could not be called until your lips themselves were currency. Letter to the Corinthians. Thank you. Walking alone in Chinatown, I had a true epiphany of your ass. It was something I could trick with my tongue like a creed. That transparent skirt was the glass, those velvet curtains the dark. Light pooled at the foot of the bed. I tasted your parts. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I was a man, I spoke like a man. I called you up, told you to come, and you came. Thank you so much.